For years, Peter Brubaker cultivated a life in the rolling landscape of Antrim Township, nestled within Franklin County, Pennsylvania. But by the late summer of 1808, his working days came to an unexpected end. Shortly after his passing, state appointed administrators arrived to meticulously value his estate. Everything he built, from his crops and household goods to his prized livestock and farm equipment, was brought before the community and sold off to the highest bidder at a public auction.
Peter Brubaker's Estate Inventory, 1808. It reveals a substantial livestock operation. Supplies were stored before the harvest, totaling $278.
Peter Brubaker was born January 23, 1801 in Franklin County, Pennsylvania. His family was of German descent, though they had already resided in Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, for several generations. He was a blacksmith by trade, dedicating his career to the craft and working until he was about 67 years old. He spent his entire life in Franklin County, Pennsylvania, where he was highly respected. Politically, he started out as a Whig before later joining the Republican Party. He was a deeply religious man, subscribing to the principles of the German Reformed Church. He was an active member for 35 years, dedicating much of his time to the church. His wife, Rachel, was born on February 27, 1799. Peter and Rachel were married in Franklin County in 1821, and together they had 10 children. Nearly all of them lived to maturity, with the exception of their son Samuel, who tragically died from the kick of an animal.
Peter Brubaker passed away on January 31st, 1874, in Peters Township, Franklin County, Pennsylvania, leaving behind a lasting legacy. Peter Brubaker was born in Franklin County, Pennsylvania, into a family whose roots reached back to the earliest German immigrants who settled colonial America. He grew up in a world of horse-drawn wagons, hand-built barns, and family farms, where faith, perseverance, and hard work shaped everyday life. As a young man, Peter married Rachel Butts, and together they built a life centered on family. Over the years, they welcomed 10 children, creating a home filled with work, laughter, and responsibilities that came with raising a large family in rural America. During Peter's lifetime, America changed dramatically. He witnessed westward expansion, the arrival of the railroad, and the tragedy of the Civil War. In October 1862, 25-year-old Peter Brubaker was drafted into the 158th Pennsylvania Militia. Starting as a private, his leadership quickly earned him a promotion to corporal by the new year. Brubaker marched through grueling winter campaigns in Virginia and North Carolina and served his country with honor. While the nation struggled through its darkest years, Peter remained devoted to his family and land that sustained them. After the war, the American frontier called to thousands of families searching for opportunity. In 1879, Peter made one of the biggest decisions of his life. Leaving behind the hills of Franklin County, Pennsylvania, he moved his family west to the rich farmland of Bloomfield Township, Polk County, Iowa. Like so many pioneer families, the Brubakers didn't simply move west, they followed family. By 1880, Peter had established a successful 75-acre Iowa farm. It was the product of decades of determination and sacrifice. On January 31st, 1884, Peter Brubaker passed away in Bloomfield Township, Polk County, Iowa. He left behind far more than land and possessions. He left a family rooted in faith, strengthened by hard work, and connected across generations. Today, more than 200 years after his birth, that legacy lives on in every Brubaker gathered here. The next chapter of the Brubaker story belongs to Charles Kearns Brubaker, who was born on October 21st, 1874, in Peters Township, Franklin County, Pennsylvania. As a child, he moved west with his family to Iowa, but Charlie's journey would not end there. While still young, he continued west to the rapidly growing city of Los Angeles, California. In 1896, Charles married Kitty Bell Gleiss, a young woman born in Nebraska. Together, Charles and Kitty built a home, raised their children, and became part of a large and closely connected extended family. These photographs show that the family life was not made up only of work and responsibility. Charles, Kitty, and their siblings, spouses, and relatives found time for laughter, outings, and memorable days together along the Southern California coast. Even in formal clothing and in old fashioned bathing suits, their personalities still come through more than a century later. As Los Angeles entered an automobile age, the family gathered beside cars that were changing American life. These vehicles represented something new, greater freedom to travel, visit relatives, and explore the growing communities surrounding Los Angeles. But the most important part of this photograph is not the automobiles, it is the family standing together between them. The photographs taken around their home reveal another side of Charles and Kitty. Charles also loved the California coast. With his friend and neighbor, Mr. Ginder, he built one of the early vacation houses in the Rincon near Ventura. The beach house became a place where the family could escape Los Angeles, gather near the ocean, fish, visit, and make memories. What Charles helped build became more than a small house by the water, it became a part of the family's shared memory. Work remained a central part of Charlie's life. He spent approximately 50 years with the Los Angeles Soap Company, beginning as a young employee and remaining with the company through the decades of change. Charles Kearns Brubaker died in Los Angeles on August 29, 1937, at the age of 62. His gravestone marks the end of his life, but not the end of his influence. The family he helped establish in California continues through his children and grandchildren. Bruce Orion Brubaker Sr. was born in Los Angeles, California. He was the oldest son of Charles Kearns Brubaker and Kitty Gleiss Brubaker. Unlike generations before him, Bruce never knew life on the Pennsylvania frontier or the Iowa prairie. California was home from the very beginning. On July 13th, 1922, Bruce married Marguerite Henderson in Los Angeles. Together, they began a new chapter in the Brubaker story, building their home in Southern California. Their marriage was blessed with two sons, Bruce Orion Brubaker Jr. and Charles Miles Brubaker. Charles was only 2 months old at his father's passing. The Brubakers were a close family, and many weekends were spent visiting relatives, enjoying picnics, and gathering along the Southern California coast. Those family traditions would continue for generations. These photographs captured ordinary moments that have become extraordinary with time. Sitting on the porch, laughing together, simply enjoying one another's company. More than 100 years later, these everyday moments allow us to see the people behind the names. Bruce Orion Brubaker passed away in the San Bernardino, California. He was only 42 years old. His life was far shorter than anyone expected. Yet in those 42 years, he became a devoted son, a loving husband, a father, and an important part of the California Brubaker family. Bruce Orion Brubaker Jr. was born in Los Angeles, California. Bruce's story began with simple moments. An old wicker stroller, baby pictures carefully preserved in the loving arms of his mother. Bruce was especially close to his parents. His father, Bruce Sr., had inherited the determination of generations of Brubaker farmers and pioneers. His mother, Marguerite, provided the steady love and encouragement that shaped his childhood. As Bruce became a young man, the world changed dramatically. The Second World War touched nearly every American family. Like millions of others of his generation, Bruce answered his country's call. His military service would shape the man he would become. On July 2nd, 1948, in Glendale, California, Bruce married Dorothy Mae Bolton. Together they began building a life founded in love, faith, and family. The next generation of the Brubaker story was now beginning. Bruce and Dorothy shared the joys and challenges of building a home together. Bruce loved to fish, and the old 14-foot wood boat he bought and made seaworthy served the family on many exciting fishing adventures. During the Christmas season, Bruce became Santa Claus while working for Sears. Through the years, they celebrated milestones, raised a family, and created memories that would be treasured for generations. With every generation before them, their story became another important chapter in the family journey that began more than 2 centuries earlier in Pennsylvania.